so crazy.
How did you get into music?
How did I get into music? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I played in like bands in high school, and
Nice.
then that was like a lot of fun. But I mean, I guess my mom listened to a lot of music. Like she had me at like 22.
Okay.
So she was very much like still very like hip Gen
Cool
X
mom.
when I was like like I'm 5 years old, and like she's listening to like only like Beck and Talking Heads and Rage Against the Machine and shit like that all the time.
Yeah.
So definitely just like that, but no one's like musical in my family.
Yeah.
So for me, it was more like as a fan. But then honestly, like just very quickly found like that you could just make music on your own on a computer.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be in a band ever again. It's just like, wait, I don't have to like argue with my drummer? Like,
Yeah.
I could just do this?
You can just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, when you're just alone, it's just like, this is for me.
Yeah,
It's for
although
me to
what's
enjoy.
crazy is that like, now that I've been doing this like as a job, I guess, for like 12 years or whatever,
Yeah.
all I've been wanting to do is like collaborate.
Yeah.
I'm like kind of over, like I feel like the pendulum swings, you know, in the same
Yeah,
way that
yeah,
some people
yeah.
are like, I need my studio to be my house, or like I can't have my studio at my house. I feel like that's another pendulum that kind of goes. And these days I'm like, every time I'm making my own music, I'm like, and for what?
For what?
Like, it's not exactly true, but you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
have like I'm way more, I don't know, music's about communication. You know,
Yeah.
the club is like, even kind of DJing and all that is really about kind of like human contact.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've definitely like, I'm like passionate about like, what happens if we like put these minds together over like just kind of like what I have to say on my own. Like as
For
much
sure.
as that can be kind of like interesting, it's never as interesting as, I don't know. Yeah, but it's fun.
I think music it's made to be shared, and there's kind of like nothing that brings people together like music. And
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, my friends and I were talking about this just over the weekend, how like clubs, which like obviously we're biased, but like clubs are like more important than ever. I feel like social groups are so atomized more and more. Political thought is more atomized and like fucking intense, and like people DoorDash all their shit or whatever. But like clubs are like one of the last spaces where like you're really literally rubbing shoulders against people in this
and
like
sweating.
Yeah, and it's funny, like we were saying, kind of like what the only thing that's kind of similar is like, I don't know, a really busy food market in like China or something like that. But like that's like a consumer capitalist, like I'm there to buy food to bring home, whereas a club is really there to like enjoy your senses around other people. There's like something really kind of like mystical about and like and kind of important about it.
And combine it with dancing and whatever, it's like
expression and all that. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And I guess with music too, and like I feel like on your own there's so much learning to do and refining what you're creating and what makes your sound you. But then it's like somebody hears it and hops on, it's like that's the beautiful thing that you never could have done.
Yeah, I mean, I find that to be like, there's a really interesting like trust process, an idea of like letting go with it that I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've been doing this album and No Such Thing, and like at first I think I would always like fight for what I think should happen.
Yeah.
And more I've been like, hey, you know, that's not exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
Still not, but like, cool. That's a part of you here.
Yeah.
You know, and really allowing, kind of like when you move in with like your significant other and like they got some like, you know, they got that one weird like thing they bought at a flea market. Like that lamp that you like think kind of sucks, but you're like, you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
You can have like the lamp stays. you gotta give them that lamp. Like I think there's like something really human and like important in that.
Yeah. For real, bro. It's like you need to. If you're sharing a space, it can't just be one person's space, and if you're creating a song together, it's like you can't cap somebody's expression. You can let it out and then refine it.
Yeah, sure.
But like you want it to be open enough that they trust.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And you end up weird fucking accidents, and I don't know. I think there's also this thing of like it extends to so many other things, but I guess if you always do everything on your own, and this extends beyond music, beyond art, all you have is your very specific point of view of what you've experienced, what you're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you're willing to kind of like succumb to the people around you and the people you're working with, you're expanding that field of vision, you're expanding that like breadth of technical ability, but also just like approach and like
and then you
spirit
and you make something that you never could have made.
Yeah, that's sick. That's the most exciting part for me. I feel like is like, not that I feel like I've like stopped learning or stopped growing, but sometimes there's feelings of like definitely plateau or whatever.
Yeah.
And definitely working with someone, either getting just a vocalist on a track or working with different producers and stuff, you're like, oh damn, this is like outside of like my realm of experience.
Yeah. What do you typically do with your like, you feel stuck on a track or stuck with like your creativity? Do you have like a process for getting out of that, or it just depends?
No. I try to, if I really feel like toxic stuck, like as in like I've been in a loop of only listening to it forever.
Yeah.
If time allows, I'm like, I'm not opening that project for like at least a week.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to listen to it. Like I can't like avoid demoitis and like, and then almost forget like the details about it. Yeah, exactly. To be like, oh, right, this.
Then it's like you're a different person coming back to it.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, clearly take this out. This is trash. This part's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I've had the best results with literally like checking in on something that was like 5 years old and be like, oh, there's like a new life, or like only the drums were good and delete everything else kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not being too precious is really the secret.
And also just different, I feel like different projects have different times that make sense.
That's real.
Like you might make something and you're like, this is it, but then you're like, it doesn't feel like the right time, maybe.
Yeah. A really kind of stressful thing with like, maybe electronic music because it's so production focused over like singer-songwriter music or something, is like, sometimes you'll make something and just like because you had other stuff ready to come out or label shit was slow or whatever, and then by the time it's ready you're like, this would have hit harder last summer, you know? Which is, that's too bad. When it's not the time anymore, that's a tragic time. That's like,
damn. True though.
You're just like, damn, this is a 2021 fall banger. I don't know if it's really hitting like that right now.
Yeah, it's like the fucking demo was banging in my car last year. What
the Bandcamp's not really hitting though.
Yeah. What's been inspiring you the most lately?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I'm like.
Yeah.
I don't know that I really kind of like go to like even kind of always have a movie on mute in the studio just as a kind of like ADD stimulation, but I don't know that I go to like a gallery show and I'm like, wow, I need to take this into the studio. I think there's like definitely like a weird osmosis of like being jumping in the deep end on a bunch of like cultural stuff and just hoping that it kind of comes back to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I have like kind of like a huge thing to point to. Just kind of a weird.
No, that's fair. It's like sometimes it's, you know, like where do our ideas come from? Like, really? Like it's such an amalgamation of everything we do. Like it might come from a conversation or just like you see a really nice leaf and it sparks a memory to some day in your past. Like I feel like inspiration can kind of come from anywhere. And
that's true.
My friend the other day was like, where do you get your ideas? I'm like, it's hard to say. It's like kind of just who I am and just the collection of things you've been through. And
I'll get ideas on like a technical approach to something, like, and take it from different places. Like I've been I kind of cycle through like a few kind of like totem inspirations, like people that I really look towards, and like something like a Helmut Lang subverting kind of army surplus and traditional men's tailoring into something just like slightly like sleeker and minimal, but also
Yeah.
kind of like, is it queer? Is it kind of like refined and kind of subverting kind of symbols of like power and masculinity into something that, but also still feels very masculine. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Like kind of taking the suit and army surplus.
Yeah.
Like,
So how do we
is
do
there
that with-
ways to kind of take like genre music and just like how do you kind of like find your slight little sexiness or your little twist on it or whatever?
Yeah.
And try to make, you know, what does that feel like?
Yeah.
You know, when you put the weird straps on the jacket. On a
It's
techno
true
record.
though. It's like usually things that like feel so new and relevant are just like old things kind slightly changed.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Like,
Yeah.
even, I mean, Helmut Lang's a great example of that. Of like, I think when the guy like was at his peak, it felt like avant-garde and cutting edge. But it's like British Navy rib knits in a suit. You know, it's like it's not really like fishtail parka. Like it's not
with like
it's not insane, but it's like but there's just like little like nips and tucks here and there that just kind
and
of like
just like how it's photographed and packaged and all of that is such a big thing to do with it too. And also like the people you put it on and the people around it.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I feel like there's like a parallel to be done to that of like recontextualizing like where music is played. I've always been really like fascinated and loved like back in the day in New York, this party called Ghetto Gothic, and they would just play like so much like homophobic dance hall stuff at this like very gay party. And you're kind of like amazing. Like,
But everybody's having a good time.
like, and it's very much kind of like queer DJ playing total safe space, and it's just like whoa. And I think that's such a funny like
What would be your like ultimate dream venue environment to play in?
I think like to me dream clubs and like perfect environments are the spaces that like aren't so perfect. I think like to me like a perfect club environment would be like if people in Montreal were, for instance, like willing to regularly go to like a weird Chabanel loft.
Yeah.
Like it's almost about accepting like friction and discomfort.
Yeah.
And imperfection.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've been at way more amazing parties that had kind of shitty sound.
Yeah.
Than to like amazing parties where the sound was perfect. Like I
Yeah.
feel like a kind of like sound room
Grittier.
situation to me is like
Too polished.
a little overrated, and like as much I think there should be enough bathrooms and you're not waiting in line for 50 minutes, but I think there's other shit where like I think a club should always have more than one room and like maybe a weird hallway and like little room. I think you should be able to kind of like lose yourself and kind of change your vibe and choose where you're going, and like I think like just like I think sound that's too perfect I think is overrated, and I think like a club architecture is just like it's just a box with a sound like no man, I need a side quest. Like I need to kind of like if I'm gonna be there for 5-6 hours, I need to kind of like go,
bro.
what are these people
It's
doing over
like-
there? Oh shit, I haven't seen it in a minute. Like go catch up over there. Like what's going on in the other room, and kind of I think the process of moving through a club is almost more important than
I mean, often you have like more time outside smoking a dart than inside.
I've often said this. I'm not even a smoker, but I think they should bring smoking back indoors. And this is for 2 reasons. A, cigarette smoke carries the light the best. It's the best natural fog machine you could have in a club. Let's be real.
Hell yeah.
And also, think of every cool person you know, probably they smoke.
Yeah.
And so they keep leaving the club, so then you have a club where all the cool people are outside talking the whole time. We need to bring smoking back inside nightclubs.
Yeah, or have,
It ruins my clothes. I hate it. Like, every time I've been on tour and I'm in, like, Austria or something, I'm like, fuck. Like, what am I going to do? Like, it's kind of the worst for me. But for the greater good. I'm not thinking about myself here. I'm thinking about, like, the greater good. Yeah, the people. Yeah. I think the people need smoking indoors. In nightclubs.
Dude, so true. Or just, like, other rooms where you can talk. Well, you want to have a cigarette.
Well, you kind of want, but I think like even kind of endangered after parties, because then the smokers are outside. They're the ones making the noise.
Yeah.
Get a phone call, place over.
Damn, that's crazy.
They took a lot from us when they took that away.
More than we knew.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you when you're like starting to make a new track, do you have like a pretty typical approach, or it kind of changes up depending on the song?
It changes over time. I think I have sections of starting different ways.
Yeah.
I'd say lately, I definitely always try to make sure a groove is kind of locked in.
Yeah.
But I think that's because I've been kind of having fun, like I was saying, kind of trying to subvert some specific kind of like dance music stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to make sure I have like a house shuffle groove kind of really locked, and then I'll start writing chords on top of that. So it's kind of starting more from drums, but in the past I've definitely worked the other way around completely. And I would just start from like, not even with a metronome, no clock, and just kind of play some shit, you know, and then to be honest, like, I feel like tempo is such like a feelings based thing. Like the same melody cannot, won't hit the same at 105 or 135, right? Yeah. And so then whatever I wrote that at, I'll like click it in and be like, okay, I guess I'm writing at 126 right now. Yeah. But it can also be like, you find a sample somewhere and you're like, fuck, and you write everything around it, right? Yeah. You just gotta music is everywhere.
Music is there's another piece that says music is everywhere.
No shit. That's so good.
So it's like, I guess it's a combination of like play and being open and just like whatever comes up.
Honestly, that's the most important part, is to get yourself to a state of play. I think that's like, you're really spot on with that. And I think like sometimes if you're like touring every weekend, that's been like the hardest part of like writing like at least interesting new music, is you're so in the cycle of getting in and out of town and also getting the next gig, and you probably have like deadlines of shit you want to work on. You can only really execute and not just like discover. Yeah. And there's this like really interesting thing where like you have to allow yourself to like get bored. You have to allow yourself to make mistakes, as corny as that is. Yeah. But like, I think there's one thing that we've lost is like I was reading about this a few years ago, like the capacity to be bored is like the minute that we're in line, you just like bust your phone out or whatever. And like even me, I got a fucking movie on the side. I'm just like so scatterbrain, and to be able to get into, that's another thing that working with someone else has helped, is like my friend and I have a really good rapport together, and so like sometimes we're like, oh, we should like go back to that track and change the snare, but sometimes like I find a cool sound, I'm just playing, and then we just shut the fuck up, and like you just like tap into like you're just working silently and things are just happening, and you're allowing yourself to get to that place of like play and discovery, which is like so like such a treat, like a privilege to get.
And that's probably when the shit's the best too.
100%, where you barely remember making it. Yeah. That's the coolest shit.
You just flow state, like that
wasn't
even me, bro.
That's the one though. That's it.
Line, the Sublime Wire. I was on the Sublime Wire. Shit, that shit was God.
So good.
Oh my god. Damn. Who, growing up with music, what artists inspired you the most? Like your sound, or just like got you like, wow, I love music?
And probably like Timbaland and
fucking
Danger Hands is like Protege.
Okay.
That was like, cause to me that was like just a dumbass like French Canadian kid. Yeah. I think like, in a weird way, the fact that Timbaland and Neptunes like put themselves in their videos and started doing like a bunch of ad-libs, like my brain was like, oh, they make the beats. Like, I guess I was like aware of like, Dr. Dre or whatever, but like there was so much more kind of like musicality and kind of like sound design to that kind of shit that I was like, that's crazy. I want to be like him, like I guess it was like kind of the first time that I don't know, I guess like, that I just like connected with that. And then a lot of kind of like the first music software that I got was like, I mean, obviously, Postal Service is in there too, but really kind of like trying to emulate Timbaland and Danger Hands stuff was huge for me. I feel like I still do. Like, I think some of the first drum sounds I ever got were like these ripped Timbaland drum kits. Yeah. Those real like wet snares from like Missy Elliott beats and shit like that.
Yeah, it's crazy the fucking bounce in that. I mean,
crazy. Like rhythmically and sound design wise, it's so insane.
Same with the Neptunes too. It's like their use of just like empty space to create.
I mean, I think that was the difference between the two of them, though, is like Timbo was all like texture, like even kind of like in Aaliyah tracks, there's like the little kind of like cricket sound, like the love you baby, like there's so much like dense kind of like the drum sounds are like layered, and there's like beatboxing underneath the thing, and there's like 4 different synths playing.
Nice.
Even the ones that are super minimal, like when you listen back to them, you're like, fuck, there's like kind of an arrangement here. Whereas Neptune's is like 3 sounds. It's just like, we're gonna make $10 million off 3 sounds, make it the most iconic shit ever. And like,
dude, we went to see the Pharrell Lego movie.
oh my god, how was that?
It was awesome.
Life is music.
Life is music, bro. And just like they were playing like all the fucking hits that they produced in the early 2000s. And it's like, wow, that's like every song you remember.
Dude, it's insane. I went to Timbaland, Busta, Sierra, Missy Elliott at Bell Center.
Yeah.
Best show ever.
Hell yeah.
And it was just like, that was one of those concerts that was insane of like, if you like a weird B-side of theirs, you're not going to hear it because they have so many fucking hits. that they don't even have time to get through all their hits in their set time, dude. It's just like, you're just like, so what the music. Fuck? Like, Timbo's just like, Ayo Technology. Like, when's the last time you thought of that song? It's fucking insane.
Ayo Technology.
Yeah.
Bro, and the fact that they all went to the same high school.
I know, it's insane. What was in Virginia at the time, dude?
Something in the water.
So crazy. In the water. It's so crazy. Is that in the movie? Is like Timbo and Missy Elliott and stuff in there?
Everyone.
Briefly. Yeah. Like they go through like the high school phase and it's them as Lego like cooking up in somebody's like attic type shit.
Oh my god.
It's really funny.
I think I'll watch that on an airplane.
It's worth watching.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. Like it's just literally a documentary. But like
right. Is Chad Hugo in it much? Or did they try to like erase him? Because I feel like in real life, it kind of feels like Pharrell's trying to erase Chad from his legacy, which rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't know.
In it, he's like he talks in it a bunch.
Okay,
they
that's
definitely
cool.
talk
Okay,
about
so
like
he's in it, then.
The different lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
And how like he was more like quiet, family, chill.
Yeah.
Still did that stuff, and Pharrell was just very egocentric. Like
I feel like Pharrell is a lot less egocentric now, but also I don't know because he's at Louis and it's like you can only try so hard.
The cowboy pants. He's going crazy.
For real. Do you have any advice to your younger self like 10 years ago?
I don't know. I think don't sign to majors. Don't sign a publishing deal with Sony ATV. I don't know. I'd say I'm kind of like, I'm really happy with where I am. I'm glad that I still have a career in music. I'm still able to pay my rent from this stuff. So I feel like I grew up like in a generation where like we're post record sales.
Yeah.
We're already in like, we were always told the music industry is in shambles and like destroyed. So, I mean, I guess I'd
just keep cooking.
I don't know. Yeah, get a better work ethic, or like maybe try to get a prescription for ADD or something. Like, I feel like I've definitely like wasted so much of time in my life of just being like so scrambled and all over the place, and I could have benefit still to this day. Like more focus.
Yeah, I feel like everybody could focus a little bit harder.
Yeah, focus
but
more. It's hard.
It's hard, bro.
There's so much going
on.
on.
You open Instagram and you go on the For You page and there's just ass and you're like, whoa.
I guess.
It's endless.
Yeah. It's endless. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, sick.